Hello and welcome to another edition of Toys from the Attic. For today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Power the Primes, Starscream. Now initially I was kind of surprised that they're going to come out with a new version of this guy, but then I remembered, hey, it's Starscream. They're always going to come out with a new version of him, just like Megatron and Optimus Prime. And I was really excited seeing the photos from BotCon and Hasbro, but after getting this guy in my hands, there's some things that are a little bit disappointing. First off, I'm going to say is the stickers. Yes, they are nice and they give that extra added little bit of detail where it's needed, but because of how, I guess because they're metallic stickers, you could kind of see that they do want to start to peel off right away, especially the more you handle this guy and transform him. So I'm afraid that, yeah, he's going to become stickerless over time. I would normally say like, oh, I'll just add that in there with my own paint detail, but I can't get that level of detail in there with hand painting it. No, so yeah. The other thing too is this guy's joints became loose really quickly. You can see that this arm right here is extremely loose compared to this one, and this knee just doesn't want to support him at all, where this one is still kind of tight. I could put some floor polish in there to tighten it up, but just to have these go bad just so quickly is really disappointing. Overall, some of the other joints on him are actually still pretty tight. He does have a nice, guess I'll just go over that. He has a nice ball joint up here for the head. You can see he can move around, and speaking of that head, it is a very nice sculpt for Starscream. It just looks kind of so sinister and serious and plotting. He has a nice ratchet right here for the shoulder that allows him to go up and down and out. You can just hear that ratchet for miles. Then that's to be expected because these are going to become the legs for when he becomes Emperor Starscream, or is it Super Starscream? I can't quite remember. And as you can see also right here, he has a nice bicep swivel and an elbow bend, as we said before. Has kind of a nice tight hip joint right here. Doesn't quite ratchet like the shoulders, but still it's very nice and tight and moves out like so. A thigh swivel and then a knee bend as well. Oh, one other thing I should point out that is kind of a downside is the all this extra kibble right here for his jet mode. And it doesn't really want to stick in there all that well, so you can see it will kind of rotate around very easily, so you're probably always going to have to be adjusting that. Now, one thing that I'm not sure if this is just me or if it could be his overall design, but just his arms and legs just feel a little bit off to me. Yes, because of their size, they do make them look a little bit more imposing and tougher, but they're kind of remind me of Popeye or Mega Man. It's almost as if Dr. Wily designed this particular body for Starscream. You can see just how bulky his forearms are, and especially his feet. They make him look a little bit taller than what he should be proportion-wise. I don't know if this will look a little bit better when we get E280, who's supposed to share the same mold as him. Maybe that will tell that, oh yeah, this whole design was originally supposed to be for E280, and they just decided to tack Starscream onto it, or vice versa, but yeah, it just makes him look a little bit too tall in my book. Thankfully, he's not taller than Megatron, because if there's one thing I don't like is like Starscream being slightly taller than Megatron. Megatron should always be kind of towering over Starscream and keeping him in his place, a little schemer and traitor. Anyways, he does come with these extra accessories right here. You can see the little feet that are supposed to form, or that you put on some of the other combiners to form Super Starscream, and he does come with his extra little guns right here. You can fit either one of his guns in his hands right here, so it could be dual-wielding pistols if you want to, or you could actually fit them right here on the side, but when you try to fit this one gun in here, his arms are just a little bit too big and they will want to pop this gun out. Thankfully, Hasbro did think of a solution for this, so you can actually put the little guns right here on the into the back of the feet, and put those on the side of his arms. And that actually gives it just enough distance, and it actually makes his guns look even more big and impressive, so you could just... didn't want to do that. Oh well, that's kind of embarrassing, but anyways, there you go. You can have his guns form out, and he can shoot whoever's going to be trying to attack him. Alright. And now, last but not least, he does come with this little... Power of the Primes little cube right here. It's just some sort of little generic matrixy looking type thing. You can see just a hint of red paint right here on the center. It does share the same similarities between the Titans Returns guys and the Power Masters. As a matter of fact, you could probably just stick this on any Titans Returns figure and it would look kind of like a generic probe head on one of the top of the robots. But it just fits right here on the side of either one of the feet, so you could be powered up by the power of the Primes. Actually, now that I also think about it, any third-party vendor could actually probably use this little mold right here and make like a little Energon cube that could stick in there. That'd be actually kind of neat. There's not really much else to say about him in his robot mode, so let's go ahead and transform him into his vehicle mode next. Alright, now technically Starscream's transformation should be relatively simple, however, I find it to be a huge major pain in the butt. I don't know if it's my particular figure or if it's just the overall design, but you'll see what I mean when I get to the certain issues. Alright, first off we're going to actually start by moving his head all the way around, and then we're going to move the jet part and rotate around like so. Fold his wings out just a little bit so we can get the nose cone out. And before you push it all the way forward, we're going to want to flip these two pieces around like so. Otherwise you might forget and then you can't actually turn them around when you get them locked into place here. So just kind of push this down to where it's forced into place, and you're going to want to fit these little tabs right into the little screw hole slots right here. You might need to force it a little bit, and I don't know if you can tell on kind of mine right here, but it's actually sheared off a little bit of that plastic tab right there, just trying to force this in so many times. Yeah, these pieces want to pop off constantly on this guy. Alright, let me try to, you can see it doesn't really want to stick in there all that well. And get two in there. Get the guy on this side. There we go. Alright. Okay, and just moving the wings around always will just kind of make everything pop out. Next, on the legs, we're going to flip these little panels down like so to unlock the knees. Now here's another one of my major issues is there's only one little tab to fit in this one little slot over here. I wish there was another one on the other side to help lock these legs into place a little bit better, but no, so you kind of just have to force them to be right there and then just kind of slide everything into place, and you can see just doing that it wants to fall apart. So alright, just get that in there, make sure that the wings kind of keep everything in place, and as you can see this part's going to pop open again. And now here's where it gets tricky again, is we're going to want to fit this little tab right in this little slot, and there's another little tab that fits right in this little slot over here, and it doesn't always want to work that well. So force it in on that side and then get that in up there. Alright, and get that one in on this side and get that one in up there. Whew, actually this one a little, oh, I spoke too soon. See, even right now this part wants to pop apart, and you can see seams on this guy. Alright, I think that's about it. Next we're going to actually fold the wings down like so and get the little landing gear out, so if he lands he can actually be flush and he's not just falling forward like he would be if his landing gear wasn't out. And there you go, that's Starscream in his jet mode. Overall, from the top it's not that bad, even though there's a lot of big gaps in the paneling here and there. You can see right here that kind of takes away from it just a little bit. There we go, that's a little bit better. Okay, everything's snapping into place. I'm not sure about how I feel about these stickers on the side. Yes, I do like the fact that they add a little bit more detail, but I'm always afraid that they're going to peel off over time, and they feel like the more you move it, that you could even see right here the little corner starting to want to kind of pop off, and these are probably going to peel off over time. I don't know if I would want to actually do a little bit of a custom paint job on them myself after I get these, if I ever take these stickers off. That's going to be, yeah, I don't know if I could get all that detail in there with some paint. I will maybe get another one of these guys and paint him as one of the Macross jets, because looking at the back of his the jet mode right here does actually kind of remind me of how the what's the name of the jet with the skull and crossbones on it. I was never that big into Macross, but I can't remember what the name of those robots are, but the feet kind of remind me of that particular Macross jet. I will say that also he is very, very chunky on the bottom here, even more so than some of the other jets in the even the Combiner Wars line. Yeah, I would say that, oh yeah, because you're hiding a whole robot down here, it's kind of given that you're going to have a lot of extra kibble down here. But I think these feet are what actually make it stand out even more so, because you can see that just makes everything look super thick. I wish they actually had some sort of landing gear, or I wish that the feet kind of folded up just a little bit more. Yeah, I understand that's where you're going to be having your combiner ports right here for when he becomes Emperor Starscream, but yeah, it's just, the jet mode is just kind of lacking unless you have it you're viewing him from the top. Now his two other accessories, you can actually take his little guns and put him on the side right here so he can still shoot Autobots or any of his enemies from right here. And you can also take the little feet for his Emperor Starscream mode and put him right here so you can actually still fly around with those. However, one downside is on mine right here. That little slot, and wow, that just fell off right out of there. I'll get it later. Anyways, this little slot right here is very loose. So I don't know if that's actually just the peg or the slot, but you can kind of see. Is it that one? Oh no, it's this peg. It's the peg right here. This is the one that's actually really loose. So you can see no matter which one I put it in, it just kind of wants to fall out. So that is another little downside with this particular figure. There's not really much else for me to say about his jet mode. More pieces are falling off. So let's go ahead and get him into his chest mode next. Alright, now transform Starscream here into the chest of Super Starscream, or is it Emperor Starscream? The name kind of slips me right now. Anyways, his transformation is a little tricky in some spots, so bear with me if I fumble around in a few areas here or there. I've only transformed him a couple of times. First off, I'm going to move his little shoulder or forearm panels off like this, so he could flip his hands around and get those little combiner ports opened up. Next, I'm just going to move his arms around and then slide that piece up like so, so it kind of just locks it into place. There's also a little tab right in there that's supposed to fit right in this little slot right in there. Do that for both sides. Flip that all the way around. There we go. Just flip that up like this, so that's the way when you put these arms up like so to be the legs, they're right where they're supposed to be. And while I'm at it, I'm actually just going to take his jet mode and flip that all the way around like so, because we're going to need that turned around for later. Next up, I'm going to try to get his chest open to get Emperor Starscream, I think that's actually the name, his head out while we're here. Move that down. And now here's a part that's a little tricky, is we're going to want to force regular Starscream's head down like so. It's kind of always going to be a little bit tricky. You might want to push it in from this end just to force it down. When you first transform this guy, it might not feel like you want to, like it doesn't want to go in there, but trust me, it will. It took a lot of trial and error because I didn't want to break this guy, but I eventually got it in there. All right, move his head down like so. And now for this part, this is where it gets a little tricky for me. So we're going to want to move this panel up like so to unlock those knees. And then there's a little tab right here that's supposed to fit in a little slot right there. And I know probably some of you out there are probably thinking like, how is this so complicated? Well, it's just trying to get that to fit right in there and make sure everything kind of balances correctly to where it's kind of flush and even with each other and it's not off kilter in any way. Alright, anyways, next up we're going to want to flip this part back around like so. And these two little tabs are going to fit right in these little tabs right here. So we're going to bring this up, move that all the way around, and there you go. Alright. And just move his head all the way around, up, all the way around like this. There you go. And see, something feels a little off to me right now, even with how the legs are. I can't quite place it. Anyways, next up we're going to move these parts around like so. Ah, there we go. See, it's still just kind of slightly off. It's not balanced 100%. There you go, because these little tabs are supposed to fit right on these little slots right there. There you go. That feels a little bit better. Alright, and sometimes you guys might have the wings out like this, but actually just fold them up so that they're kind of locked into place, and it helps fill the chest out a little bit more. Last but not least, we're actually going to take his two guns that are right here and just move those and put those right in here on either side. And there you go. Starscream's now the chest of Emperor Starscream. Once again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you've seen today, please help me out by sharing, liking, or even subscribing. Comments and advice are also appreciated. Who knows, something you suggest may appear on the show in the future.